Good morning, YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about my bad habits that I have developed as a new shooter. I'm going to start with a little bit of history for me because it will explain where these bad habits came from, but they are also common bad habits that new shooters develop, or some of them at least. So I promise it might sound like I'm rabbit trailing, but I will totally bring it full circle and wrap it up in a nice little package for you. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and yeah, let's just get started. I wasn't raised around guns, so I had no knowledge. The only thing that I had really seen of guns was either squirt guns or guns on movies and on TV. And as a young adult, a fear was kind of shaped because of Columbine. That was probably the earliest shooting that I could remember. And then there was, a couple after that. Mike has been my only teacher. I married into a family of guns, so I went from no guns to a family of guns. He was raised with guns. He is in the military, and his primary job is infantry, so he's well versed in that. He is also a concealed carry instructor, so he hasn't done any classes currently, but in the past he has done them. He's taught a lot of my friends. I'm a terrible representation of him and his knowledge because I butcher names, I butcher my terms. When he introduced me to guns, it was more of his thing than it was my thing. So over the last 2 years, I want to say, was when I really started getting into it and really starting to love the industry, guns, everything. And kind of a side note, it was at SHOT Show that desire was really born. Anyways, that's kind of just where I saw it. So I'd shot a little bit up until the last 2 years, and then the last 2 years is when it's really become a thing for me. Bad habits. My bad habits, going back to the fear, was the fear of guns. That fear made me extremely timid around them, and that timidness really kind of shaped how I shot, and that was before I really kind of started diving into it more. I remember Mike would take me to a gun shop with him, and he would always ask me, oh, do you want to hold this gun? Do you want to look at it? And I would always say no, because again, I was still kind of fearful of them. And so occasionally I would pick it up, and then I realized how embarrassing it was. I realized at that point that I really need to become familiar with firearms. Just kind of where my head was in terms of even touching a firearm that's not even loaded. I was so afraid of them. So when it came to going to the actual range, it translated into my shooting. So I would be shooting, and because I was afraid of the bang, because I was afraid of shooting it, afraid of the firearm, I would anticipate that shot. And so when I would shoot, I would dip down because I'm trying to anticipate that bang or anticipate the kickback. Every time I shot, I would dip. So fast forward till now, it's something I'm still trying to work through because it's just, I did it for so long that it's ingrained now. I anticipate it. So it's a terrible thing because it's frustrating because I want to hit the target, but all of my groupings are below because I'm dipping. I have been getting a lot better at it. I'm aware of it. I'm trying to be conscious about it. So those are just things that I have to keep in mind when I go shooting. Now I'm a lot faster, I'm a lot better at it. I know gun safety because of my husband. He's a huge advocate, obviously, with his history. He's all about gun safety. And having Mike with such a wealth of knowledge, and he's a great teacher, I feel like I should be a lot further along than I am. But reality is YouTube is my, not even my part-time, this is more of like a hobby for me at this point. So I don't get to go shooting as often as I like. And so, you know, life does come first. Comes to shooting, I mean, I just don't get to do it as often as I would really want to. So maybe in the near future, I'll be able to do it every weekend. That would be my goal, which would be amazing. But at this point, I don't know, I think maybe we go once a month. A bad habit of mine is when I pull the slide back, I guide it. And that comes from when I was practicing very, very early on. Follow me on Instagram, you probably saw my little video that I left showing me, you know, playing with the slide. And I was doing that. And again, it was an unconscious thing because it was ingrained in me. Earlier on, I started practicing because I was so weak that I couldn't pull it back. So a kind lady had pointed out on Instagram to let go. Now I know this, and I totally didn't catch it when I posted the video. I thought, oh my goodness, I can't believe I did that. But again, it was one of those bad habits that I had developed because I was practicing the wrong way when I should have been pulling it back and letting go. It goes also back to that fear. I was afraid of it. I had one time accidentally clipped my skin when I was pulling it back. One, because I was being timid with it, and two, because I was afraid of it. I was afraid to get my skin clipped. So what did I do? I started guiding it. So, you know, I watched that video after she made that comment, and I just thought, oh my goodness, like I should have known. But I left it up because, you know, I'm learning, and that's the whole premises for my channel, is I'm learning. And if you're new, learn with me. That's why I want to talk about the things that I'm struggling with, bringing you along on my vlogs and while we go shooting. That's kind of my goal. Right now I've been doing some reviews and some like monthly favorites and things like that. But right now, this is kind of the first of diving into what I'm learning and what I'm improving on. And so that is what I am working on right now, is trying to get those bad habits completely gone so that I can focus more on my aim and doing a lot better. The remedy. The remedy is practice, 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 practice. Practicing all of those things that you are struggling with. So what I actually do right now, and I actually don't do it again as often as I should at home, in full transparency, but I do, when I think of it, try to grab out my gun, and I as far as practicing for the dip, I try to just dry fire and being aware of where my barrel is pointed, because you can see when you dip when you're practicing. So when you're pulling that trigger, you can see it dip down. What Mike had suggested was choosing like a spot or nick on the wall and just watching that when you pull back the trigger. And so that is something that I've been trying to do daily, even if it's for just 5 minutes. I also try practicing with my slide and just pulling it back and letting it go. The other thing is just being familiar with your guns, especially your carry gun or the gun that you're going to be shooting with the most. Being familiar with the buttons, you know, letting mag release, those kinds of things, handling it, having it on you, because the more familiar that it is, more natural it's gonna be. So that way when you're around it, it's comfortable, it's natural, and it's not a scary thing, because it's not. Anyways, that is kind of the things that I've been working on. Some common mistakes that people make. Some girls are complete naturals. They can pick up a gun for the very first time and nail it. Other girls like me have just developed bad habits and need to work through. If you're new, don't be discouraged. Keep practicing, working through it, and eventually you will get there. I hope that you guys liked this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.